If you are over 60, there is one fruit you probably eat without a second thought that could quietly raise your stroke risk while you sleep. I know that sounds surprising. Most of us grew up in a time when fruit was the safest, purest thing in the kitchen. But as we get older, our bodies change, our medications change, and the way certain fruits behave inside our blood vessels can change, too. I have seen this with so many patients. Good people who were simply trying to stay healthy. They had no idea a simple fruit habit could become a silent senior stroke risk. And the part that shocks most older adults is that it happens slowly, gently, without a warning sign. My name is Dr. James. I am a brain doctor who has spent more than 20 years working with older Americans in hospitals, senior centers, and small community clinics. I have sat beside families in Florida, Texas, and Ohio, listening to their stories. I have watched strong, independent seniors try their very best to do what they believed was healthy. Many of them never imagined that something as innocent as fruit could create the perfect conditions for a stroke. It is not about fear. It is about understanding. Your body is still trying to heal. You just need to give it what it truly needs. Tonight, I want to walk with you through 9 fruits that can raise stroke risk in ways most people never hear about. I will explain everything gently, with simple images, and share real stories from people just like you. And I promise this, number 1 on the list is something so common, so American, that most seniors eat it every single week. Before we start, tell me in the comments, have you ever wondered if fruit could affect your blood pressure or circulation? Type 1 if yes, 0 if no. When most older adults hear that apples made this list, they look at me with disbelief. Apples. The classic American fruit. Something many of you grew up packing in school lunches, slicing for your kids, or keeping in a bowl on the kitchen counter. For decades, we were told an apple a day kept the doctor away. But after 60, the story becomes a little more complicated. Not dangerous, not forbidden, just something we need to understand better. The truth is that several modern apple varieties are much sweeter than the ones you and I grew up with. Honeycrisp, Fuji, Gala. These apples were bred to taste amazing, but that sweetness can cause a short, sharp spike in blood sugar. For younger people, the body absorbs that spike and recovers quickly. But for older adults, the blood sugar swing hits the bloodstream like pouring warm syrup into an old, narrow pipe. The walls stiffen, the pressure rises, and for a few hours, the blood becomes just a little thicker than usual. On its own, it may not cause trouble. But when you add high blood pressure, a statin, a diuretic, or a night of poor sleep, the conditions start to layer on top of one another. That is when a simple fruit can quietly raise your stroke risk without you realizing it. I remember a woman named Linda from Ohio. She was 68, sharp, funny, and very committed to living healthily. Every night around 9, she would slice a Honeycrisp apple and eat it while watching her favorite late-night shows. She told me she switched from cookies to apples because she wanted to be good to her heart. But she kept waking up lightheaded, and her morning blood pressure reading was creeping higher each week. The apple was not the enemy. It was the timing, the sweetness, and the way her body changed after 60. Once she switched to a tart Granny Smith and moved her fruit to earlier in the day, her reading settled again, and she felt more like herself. You do not need to give up apples. Just choose the varieties that work with your body, not against it. A small tart apple with a handful of almonds in the afternoon is gentle on your system. But a big, sweet one right before bed can push your blood pressure and sugar in the wrong direction. And if apples surprised you, wait until you hear number 8. It is even more common in American homes, especially in the summer, and almost no one realizes how it affects hydration and circulation overnight. Most older adults smile when they hear watermelon on this list. It feels innocent, refreshing, harmless, a summer tradition. Many of you grew up eating watermelon at family cookouts, 4th of July picnics, church gatherings, or after a hot afternoon mowing the lawn. Even today, I know so many seniors who keep a big bowl of chilled watermelon in the fridge because it feels light and hydrating, and it is. But after 60, the way your body handles fluids and electrolytes shifts, and watermelon can quietly create a chain reaction that most people never notice. Watermelon has a natural diuretic effect. It makes your body release water. That can be comforting on a hot day, but not at 9 at night, when many older adults are already taking blood pressure medications, water pills, or heart meds that cause extra urination. The combination can lead to dehydration while you sleep. When the body loses water, even a small amount, the blood becomes thicker, the pressure changes, the heart works harder, and by early morning, when stroke risk is naturally higher in older adults, your circulation may be under more strain than you realize. I think of Marcus, a 72-year-old retired truck driver from Texas. He loved watermelon. Every summer evening, he cut himself a giant bowl and ate it while watching baseball. But he started waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning to use the bathroom. His mouth felt dry. His legs cramped. By 7 a.m., his blood pressure was higher than usual, and he felt a heaviness in his head that he brushed off as age. When we talked through his habits, he was shocked that his nighttime watermelon was working against his medications. Once he moved it to the afternoon and drank an extra glass of water along with it, the nighttime bathroom trips stopped, and his morning numbers settled. You do not need to give up watermelon. Just treat it with the respect your older body deserves. Enjoy it at lunch. Pair it with a little salt or protein so it does not pull so much water from your system. And most importantly, avoid eating large bowls late at night. Your heart will thank you for it. And if watermelon surprised you, number 7 is even more common in American kitchens. Many older adults eat it every single morning without realizing how it interacts with their medications. Bananas are one of the first fruits that older adults question when they start paying attention to their heart and blood pressure. Almost every American kitchen has bananas on the counter. Many of you grew up slicing them over your cereal, blending them into morning shakes, or grabbing one before heading out for a long day of work. Even now, I meet so many seniors who start each morning with a banana because it feels gentle, familiar, and full of potassium. And potassium is good. But after 60, when the kidneys work a little slower and medications do a little more of the heavy lifting, too much potassium at the wrong time can create a ripple effect you never intended. Here is the part most older adults never hear about. Many common blood pressure medications, especially ACE inhibitors and ARBs, already push potassium levels higher. Your body does that on purpose to help your blood vessels relax. But when you mix those medications with a large banana every single morning, the potassium can accumulate faster than your kidneys can filter it out. That buildup changes the electrical rhythm of your heart. Your heartbeat becomes slightly stronger or irregular. Your blood pressure shifts in ways that are easy to miss. You may feel a little flushed, a little shaky, or a little too tired after breakfast and not realize that a simple, healthy habit is nudging your circulation in the wrong direction. I remember Robert, a 75-year-old from Florida, who took great pride in staying active. Every morning, he walked his dog, drank his coffee, and ate 2 bananas because he wanted to keep his energy stable. But he kept feeling a strange pulse in his chest. His smartwatch showed little spikes in his heart rate. He assumed it was age until we looked at his medications and his diet together. Once he cut back to half a banana and added a glass of water before breakfast, the palpitations faded and his mornings felt steady again. You do not need to stop eating bananas. Your body simply needs balance. After 60, your heart, your kidneys, and your medications all talk to each other in ways they did not before. A small banana with breakfast is perfectly fine for most seniors, but 2 or 3 a day can make your potassium levels rise higher than you think. And if bananas are something you enjoy daily, wait until you hear number 6. It is sweet, tangy, and surprisingly powerful, and it can influence both your blood flow and your sleep without you even noticing. Pineapple is one of those fruits older adults often reach for when they want something bright and refreshing. It feels tropical, cheerful, almost like a small vacation on a plate. Many seniors tell me they keep canned pineapple in the pantry for quick snacks, mix fresh pineapple into cottage cheese, or enjoy a bowl after dinner to help digestion. And for most of your life, that was perfectly fine. But after 60, the way pineapple interacts with your stomach, your blood, and even your medications begins to matter more than most people realize. Pineapple contains something called bromelain. You do not need to remember the name. What matters is what it does. Bromelain can gently thin the blood and increase circulation, which can be helpful for some people. But for older adults who are already taking blood thinners, aspirin, or heart medications, that extra thinning can create a shift your body is not prepared for. Your blood may move a little too quickly or not clot as easily as it should. At the same time, pineapple is very acidic. That acid can cause reflux at night, especially when eaten after dinner. Reflux interrupts sleep, lowers oxygen for short moments, and places stress on the heart. When you combine thinner blood, midnight reflux, and early morning blood pressure changes, the risk adds up quietly. I think of Susan, a 70-year-old retired teacher from North Carolina. She loved pineapple. Every night, she scooped a bowl of canned pineapple from Walmart, thinking it would settle her stomach. But she kept waking up feeling winded, like she had not slept deeply. Her morning blood pressure readings were climbing, and she blamed stress. When we talked, she realized she had started a new blood thinner only months earlier and was still eating pineapple late at night. Once she switched to eating it at lunch and rinsed the canned pineapple to remove the heavy syrup, her sleep improved and she felt steadier in the mornings. You do not need to stop enjoying pineapple. You simply need to treat it with awareness. Eat it when you are awake, moving, and hydrated. Avoid it right before bed, especially if you take blood thinners. Your heart and your sleep will thank you. And if pineapple surprised you, number 5 will strike even closer to home. It is sweet. It is popular across many cultures, and it can push your blood pressure and sugar far more than most seniors ever imagine. Mangoes and other tropical fruits have a special place in many American homes. They feel bright, sunny, and full of life. I have met seniors from California to Florida who keep bags of frozen mango in the freezer, slice fresh mango over yogurt, or blend tropical fruit smoothies because they want something sweet that still feels healthy. And, for most of your life, that sweetness was no problem at all. But after 60, the way your body manages sugar, digestion, and overnight blood pressure can shift in ways that catch you off guard. Mangoes are naturally high in sugar. Not bad sugar, not dangerous sugar, just a level of sweetness that is harder for older bodies to process quickly. After 60, insulin works a little slower, nighttime digestion becomes gentler, and blood vessels need more stability. When you eat a bowl of mango at night, especially after dinner, your blood sugar rises faster than your circulation can keep up. Your body tries to respond, releasing hormones that tighten blood vessels for a moment, then relax them, then tighten again. It is a roller coaster you do not feel directly, but your heart does. These swings can make the blood flow thicker for a short period, which silently raises stroke risk during the early morning hours, when older adults are already more vulnerable. I think of Elena, a 66-year-old grandmother from California who loved mango smoothies. She made one every evening, blending frozen mango with a little juice because she thought it was healthier than dessert. But she kept waking up around 4 a.m. with a pounding heart and a wave of heat through her chest. Her blood pressure logs showed early morning spikes, which puzzled her because her days felt calm. When we talked, she never imagined her harmless mango smoothies were overloading her system at night. After switching her smoothie to lunchtime and cutting the juice in half, her mornings became calmer and her sleep deepened again. You do not need to give up tropical fruits. Your body just needs you to honor its limits. Eat mangoes earlier in the day when your metabolism is awake and steady. Combine them with protein or healthy fats so your blood sugar rises gently, not sharply. And remember this, even the sweetest fruits can behave differently after 60. If that surprised you, number 4 will surprise you even more. It is easy to overeat. It sits in almost every American kitchen, and it can push your circulation harder than you think. Grapes are one of those fruits that feel almost too innocent to question. They look small, gentle, and refreshing. Many older adults keep a big bowl of grapes in the fridge, ready for an afternoon snack or something to munch on while watching the evening news or a favorite show. I have heard so many seniors say I only had a handful, but the truth is, most people do not stop at a handful. Grapes are the kind of fruit you eat on autopilot. You reach in for one, then another, and before you know it, you have eaten 20 or 30 without realizing it. What most older adults do not see is how quickly grapes raise blood sugar. They are tiny, but they pack a surprising amount of sweetness. After 60, your body processes sugar more slowly. Your insulin response is weaker, your circulation becomes more sensitive, and your blood vessels need a calmer ride. When you eat a large amount of grapes in the evening, especially after dinner, your blood sugar jumps fast. To steady you, your body releases hormones that tighten your vessels for a moment, then relax them again. It feels like nothing, but inside, the blood thickens slightly, the pressure rises, and your heart is suddenly doing extra work during hours when it should be resting. I think of Henry, a 71-year-old from Michigan. Every night, he sat down in his recliner to watch baseball and placed a bowl of grapes next to him. He said it felt better than eating chips, but he started waking up with a heavy head and pressure behind his eyes. His morning blood pressure readings climbed even though his medication never changed. When we looked closely, his nightly bowl of grapes was sending his blood sugar on a roller coaster just before sleep. Once he moved grapes to the afternoon and paired them with a piece of cheese or nuts, his mornings felt lighter and his head cleared. You do not need to give up grapes. You just need to treat them as a concentrated fruit, not a light snack. Keep your portions small. Have them earlier in the day. Pair them with something that slows sugar down. And if grapes surprised you, number 3 will feel even more personal. It is something nearly every American pantry has, and it can raise your blood pressure faster than you would ever expect. Dried fruits and fruit juices are probably the most surprising items on this list because they feel healthy in a very American way. They sit in almost every pantry and refrigerator: raisins for oatmeal, prune juice for digestion, apple juice for a light evening drink, trail mix with dried cranberries. These choices feel safe, familiar, and simple. Many older adults tell me they reach for them because they want something sweet that does not feel like dessert, but after 60, concentrated fruit and fruit juices can behave very differently inside your body. What makes dried fruit tricky is not that it is unhealthy. It is the concentration. When you remove water from fruit, the sugar becomes dense, sticky, and powerful. A handful of raisins carries the same sugar load as 2 or 3 fresh apples. Fruit juice works the same way. Without fiber to slow absorption, the sugar moves into your bloodstream like a sudden wave. For younger bodies, the wave comes and goes quickly. For older adults, the wave pushes your blood pressure up, thickens your circulation for a short time, and forces your heart to work harder right when it should be winding down for the night. Many seniors do not feel these shifts. They simply wake up tired, foggy, or with pressure behind the eyes, and never connect it to what they drank or snacked on the night before. I think of Marie, a 74-year-old widow from Pennsylvania who drank prune juice every evening because she worried about staying regular. She believed she was doing something good for herself. But she kept waking up at 4 in the morning with her heart pounding and a feeling of heat in her chest. Her morning blood pressure readings jumped almost 10 points higher than usual. When we looked at her habits, the prune juice stood out. Once she switched to a small serving of fruit earlier in the day and added more water, her mornings softened. She no longer felt that heavy pressure behind her eyes. You do not need to give up dried fruits or juices. You simply need to treat them with respect. Enjoy them in small portions. Pair them with nuts or yogurt. Drink juice with breakfast rather than before bed. And keep in mind that concentrated fruit hits the bloodstream fast. If that surprised you, number 2 is even more important, because it interacts directly with common medications and can change how your body processes them without warning. Grapefruit is one of the most surprising items on this entire list, not because it is unhealthy, but because it quietly interacts with medications that millions of older Americans take every single day. Many seniors grew up drinking grapefruit juice at breakfast, especially in states like Florida, Texas, and Arizona, where citrus is part of everyday life. I have met so many older adults who still enjoy half a grapefruit in the morning because it feels clean, refreshing, and heart-healthy. But after 60, the relationship between grapefruit and your medications becomes more complicated than most people ever hear about. Here is the part that few people know. Grapefruit slows down the enzyme in your liver that processes many common medications. Not rare drugs, not specialty prescriptions, everyday medications like statins, calcium channel blockers for blood pressure, and certain heart medicines. When the liver cannot break these drugs down as fast as it should, the medication builds up in your system. It hits your bloodstream harder, stays longer, and can raise your blood pressure or thin your blood more than intended. You might not feel it right away, but your heart does. Your circulation does. And for seniors already working to keep their numbers steady, this quiet interaction can nudge stroke risk upward without a single warning sign. I think of Charles, a 69-year-old from Florida who started each morning with a glass of grapefruit juice because he grew up believing it kept him healthy. He was on a statin and a blood pressure medicine, both very common, but his morning readings kept bouncing all over the place. Some days are too low. Some days are too high. He felt foggy, unsteady, and more tired than usual. When we reviewed his habits, the grapefruit stood out immediately. Once he switched to oranges or berries instead, his numbers stabilized, and he felt more like himself within a few weeks. You do not need to fear grapefruit. You simply need to know how it behaves with your medications. If you take statins, calcium channel blockers, certain heart medicines, or blood thinners, ask your doctor whether grapefruit is safe for you. A small change can protect your circulation in a powerful way. And if grapefruit surprised you, wait until you see number 1. It is the most unexpected fruit of all. Something almost every American senior keeps in the kitchen, and it raises stroke risk for reasons very few people ever hear about. Canned fruits in syrup are the most surprising item on this entire list, not because they look dangerous, but because they feel so familiar, so comforting, so American. Many older adults grew up eating canned peaches after Sunday dinner, fruit cocktail at school lunches, or pineapple rings on holiday hams. Even today, I see canned fruit cups in senior living centers, church potlucks, and Medicare meal deliveries. They feel like a gentle choice. A soft, easy dessert, something sweet that does not feel like candy. But after 60, your body responds to the syrup inside those cans very differently than you might expect. The syrup in canned fruit is not just sweet, it is concentrated, thick, heavy. It carries a mix of sugar and sodium that hits your bloodstream faster than your circulation can quietly manage. For younger adults, this rush comes and goes quickly. But for seniors, that surge can raise blood pressure, thicken the blood for a short period, and create early morning swings that place extra stress on the heart. Many older adults tell me they feel fine when they eat it, and that is true. The trouble does not show up in the moment. It shows up hours later, while you sleep, when your body works harder to keep everything in balance. I think of Walter, a 78-year-old from Indiana, who loved canned peaches. Every evening around 8, he opened a small fruit cup, sat down in his recliner, and watched the nightly news. He said it helped him wind down. But over time, his morning blood pressure readings crept higher. He woke up with a foggy head, a dry mouth, and a heaviness behind his eyes. Nothing alarming, nothing dramatic, just subtle changes. When we talked through his routine, the syrup stood out immediately. After he switched to no sugar, added canned fruit, and rinsed it under water to remove the extra syrup, his numbers steadied and his mornings felt lighter. You do not need to stop eating canned fruit. You simply need small adjustments. Choose no sugar added. Rinse the fruit before eating. Save syrup-based fruit for earlier in the day when your body is awake, moving, and hydrated. Your heart will thank you for those small shifts. And now that you have seen all 9 fruits, stay with me for the final part of this video. I want to show you the simple steps that can protect your brain every single day, no matter your age. Now that we have walked through all 9 fruits, I want you to take a deep breath with me. This is not a story about fear. It is a story about awareness, about small choices, about the incredible strength your body still carries. Many older adults believe that once you reach 60, your health is fixed, unchangeable, like a road that has already been paved. But I want you to hear this clearly. Your body can still change. Your brain can still adapt. Your heart still responds to every choice you make, every step you take, every glass of water you drink. Every fruit you move from night to afternoon is a quiet vote for healing. I have spent more than 20 years listening to older Americans in small clinics, senior centers, hospital rooms, and living rooms across this country. I have heard your worries. I have heard your stories. Wanting to stay independent, wanting to avoid burdening your children, wanting to feel steady when you wake up in the morning. Those goals are not out of reach. They begin with gentle awareness, not dramatic changes. You do not need a strict diet or a long list of rules. You only need small shifts in timing, hydration, portion size, and medication awareness. These shifts add up. They protect your circulation, they protect your brain, they protect your mornings. So tonight, I want to ask you something simple. Which fruit surprised you the most? Which one made you pause and think about your own routine? Tell me in the comments. I read them. I learn from them. I build future videos from the stories you share, and if this video helped you understand your body a little better, subscribe to the channel. It is free, and it helps me reach more seniors who deserve clear, kind, trustworthy information. You are not alone in this journey. Whether you live in a small town in Iowa, a busy city in California, or a quiet community in Florida, your body is still working hard for you. Honor it with small daily choices. Stay curious, stay hopeful, and never forget that caring for your brain is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself at any age.